everyone. Can you see me? Can you hear me? I don't think they can. Hi. Hi Chinmay. Hi Mona Lisa. Hi Innovative 26. Can you all see me? Can you hear me? I don't think they can see me. Oh, hi. Okay. I thought you all couldn't see me and hear me and I was just talking randomly. Hi Aarti. Hi Chinmay. Hi Innovator 26. Hi Mona Lisa Soni. Hi Chinmay. Hello all of you. So happy to be here with all of you today. Are you all excited about today's session? I'm very excited. Facts on Fire. What a cool name. Chinmay is my favorite. Innovator 26 says Chinmay is my favorite. What is your favorite? Hi Danny, how are you? Hi Priyanshi. Good to see all of you over here. A very, very warm welcome. Chinmay says, ma'am, I daily wait for your class. Yay! I also wait to take classes with you all the time. Aarti says, this is my first session with you, ma'am. Welcome, Aarti. I'm sure you're going to have a good time. And I'm hoping to see more and more of you. All right. Mona Lisa says, I'm from class 9. Well, that doesn't matter because this can be a preparation for your next year then. Please one subscribe says, hi ma'am, hello. Danny says, very exciting to learn social. Anshuman, hi. Arush, okay. Now if I start saying hi to everybody, with the amount of people that are over here, our session time will just go quickly and I won't be able to teach you anything. So let us focus on what we have to do today. So a very, very big and warm welcome to BYJU'S 9th channel. Today we are here with another exciting social science session for you. Resources and Development Part 2. I like to draw straight lines and sometimes my straight lines don't come only. Okay, Resources and Development Part 2. We have already put up a session for you on Resources and Development Part 1. How many of you have seen that session? Give me a thumbs up. How many of you have seen that? I hope you've gone through that session because that was the first chapter of geography. So I hope you've gone through the session. If you haven't gone through the session, please go back and visit that session. Vaibhavi says thumbs up. Aarti says thumbs up. All right. Great. So Gaurang says resource chapter is very interesting. Chinmay says thumbs up. Okay, great. So this means that I'm taking it that you all have all. Mona Lisa also says thumbs up. Great. Innovative 26 says you're also my favorite teacher. I wish you teach us in our schools. How sweet, Innovative 26. But the problem there would be that then we would not be able to meet so many different people from so many different parts of the country and so many different schools, right? Okay, so you all have gone through Resources and Development Part 1. Today we are going to be doing Resources and Development Part 2, but let me quickly do a recap of what we've done in the session. I'm going to be going through it really fast, not using up too much time in this, just so we have a connection of last session to this session. Okay? Alright, so what did we learn in our last session? First of all, the most obvious thing is we learned what a resource is. We learned that everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided there's a condition, it is 1, technologically accessible, 2, economically feasible, and 3, culturally acceptable. Only then we can term it as a resource, which means a resource has to have these 3 conditions in it. Apart from that, we went ahead and we understood the classification of resources, and we realized, we learned that resources are classified on the basis of origin, on the basis of status of development, on the basis of ownership, on the basis of exhaustibility, and then there are categories under each of these. I'm going to quickly go through this. On the basis of origin, resources are divided into biotic and abiotic, namely we are talking about living resources and non-living resources, right? Then under status of development, we spoke about potential resources, developed resources, stocks and reserves. I'm not going to go through this in detail with you. If you want more detail, please go take a look at our session and you will find all your answers over there, right? Then we moved on to ownership. On the basis of ownership, resources are classified into individual resources, community resources, national resources and international resources. Again, this is very easy. I think the name pretty much tells us what each category is about, but I am going to clarify one question that I received on the last session. There was a question in the comment box. Somebody had asked to say that, ma'am, what is the extent of the EEZ? So I had told you last time in the session that up to 12 nautical miles is the territorial waters. Then the EEZ is from 12 nautical miles to 200 nautical miles, and this is the answer to that question. I'm sorry if I haven't replied already. We will reply to that very soon, but this is the answer to that question, right? For rest of the details, please refer to that session. Then, on the basis of exhaustibility, we have two kinds of resources, which is renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Basically, we are talking about renewable resources being unlimited resources that we can harness at any point in time, and non-renewable resources are those which are not unlimited. They have a limit, and so we have to be careful about how we use them, right? Then, we also learned that to use resources, we have to transform them, and this transformation of resources takes place through an interaction of nature, technology and institutions, which means that we human beings, we interact with our physical environment or nature with the help of technology and institutions so that we can basically use the resources and further our own economic development, right? This is the crux of what we learned. Then we also spoke about how resources are limited and how we, because we are sort of, we are indiscriminately using our resources are getting depleted, there's accumulation of resources in, certain people's hands, and basically we need to plan better, we need to conserve our resources, we need to have sustainable development, and for this we need to plan our resources better. So how do we do resource planning? Well, there are 3 steps to resource planning. We've learned this. I'm going very fast because I've already done a session, okay? So if you haven't watched the session and any part of this is unclear, please go ahead and watch the session, which means resources and development part 1, which you already have on your channel, right? Okay, so step number 1 is identification of resources across the regions of the country. So here what we do is we survey and we map the quality and the quantity of resources that are available to us. Once we have this data, then we develop a planning structure and we make use of appropriate technology, skill, institutional setup for the developmental plans. Step number 3 is to ensure that the resource development plans are in alignment with the overall national development plans, right? So this was about resource planning. So we are all caught up to speed, right? Okay, now are you ready to proceed? Because I definitely am. I'm going to tell you what we are going to be learning today. So in today's session, we are going to be talking about 2 major subtopics over here. We are going to be talking about land resources and its utilization. And we're going to be discussing land degradation and conservation methods. So basically, we're going to be talking and discussing a little bit more about land as a resource. So let us go ahead and start with our first subtopic for today, which is land resources and its utilization. Now, this is a very interesting topic. I really like this. I saw somebody over here saying resources is my favorite chapter. Well, I like it very much too because it's actually such an interesting chapter in terms of it makes you think, of how our world is structured and gives us so much more detail about our country as to how we use our resources, right? It's very, very interesting for me also. I'm going on getting a lot of comments that are saying SST class 9, SST class 9. We'll keep you posted. You just keep following our channel and we'll be putting up all our updates over there. Okay? And in the meantime, you keep attending a lot of these classes because these classes, even for class 10, are going to be very helpful for you. And the more you learn, the more you understand the concepts, the next year for all my 9 standards will be very easy peasy. But we will keep you posted and we will take into account your requests. Okay? All right. Innovative 26 says, I like conserving anything, conservated anything. Right. Okay, fine. Now, Tejaswini says, ma'am will not see because it's already recorded video. Tejaswini, this is not a recorded video. This is very much live. I'm saying hello to you also. Okay, now let's start with land as a resource. Now, why should we or why do we consider land as one of our most important natural resources? Any answers? Any answers? Why is land so important? Tejaswini says, sorry ma'am. No problem, Tejaswini. Okay, yes, the previous part was pre-recorded. See, the reason that we are having some of the sessions pre-recorded and some of them live is basically to match our schedules with the students, because now that schools have started, everyone has different schedules. So we're just trying to keep up with everything, right? So we do what we can when we can, but the sessions will be there for you. Doesn't matter whether they are recorded sessions or live sessions. The point is we're giving you all the teaching that is required for you to ace your exams. Okay? All right. Now, correct. Because plants grow on land. Very, very good. Okay. So, land is a very important resource for us. Yes, because of the plants. And if you think about it, yes, we perform all activities on land. Absolutely right. Mona Lisa says, if land was not there, we cannot stand up. Absolutely right. If land was not there, where would we live? So we all live on land and all our activities happen on land. We survive on land, we thrive on land, right? So land is a very, very important resource because it is on land that we can find natural vegetation which we need to provide for our food needs. We find wildlife, we find transport and communication systems. So basically land is needed for us both to survive as well as thrive, and it's important to survive and thrive both, right? Okay, so land is a very important resource. Now, we have understood that land is a very important resource and we know that so many of our needs come from land, right? And based on this, we have various purposes of land. What is the meaning of purposes? Which means that we use land for so many different of our needs, right? For our food needs, for our living needs, for our, setting up our industry needs. So there are various purposes of land. Now, how we use this land depends on some factors. There are 2 types of factors which decide how we use the land or what the purpose of the land will be. And these are physical factors and human factors. Let me discuss the physical factors with you. So, the physical factors are those factors which have nothing to do with human beings. There's no human involvement in it at all. They are purely natural factors. So, for example, you have topography, you have climate, you have soil type. These are all natural or physical factors. Apart from this, now, okay, so if you think about, for example, how do the physical factors affect whether we use the land or not? Well, if you think about it, if the topography of a particular place is not suitable for farming, you cannot farm over there, right? Or if it's, for example, very rocky or mountainous, you can't live over there, right? So definitely the physical factors will depend on how we use that particular piece of land. Then we also have some human factors like population density, technology, culture, traditions. All these contribute also to how and for what purpose we use a particular piece of land, right? So you may get a question as to saying, list the physical factors that affect the purposes of land, or list the human factors that, affect human factors for the purposes of land. Or you may even be asked, what are the factors that affect how we use a particular piece of land? So in which case you will list down both the physical factors as well as the human factors, right? Okay, next. let's move on to the different categories of land. Now, in India, we use land for different purposes, and basically we have 5 categories of land that we use for different purposes. These particular, so it's written over here, land is divided into 5 categories according to different purposes. What are these 5 categories of land? Let us understand this. There is net sown area, there is land not available for cultivation, there is fallow land, there is other uncultivated land, and there are forests. Now, I know that you know all of this, but we're going to very quickly go through each of these again to understand each category and to understand how the land use pattern in India has changed. Now, you, in your textbook, in your NCERT textbook, you have, I'm sure you've already seen, there are these pie charts. There is a pie chart from the 1960s, that's 60-61, and 2014-2015, which basically shows us the changes in the land use pattern from the 1960s to the 2000s, right? So I'm not showing that to you over here, but as I discuss each of these categories with you, we'll go ahead and see how the land use pattern has changed, and we'll try and understand why, okay? If you understand why the land use pattern has changed, if you get a question about this in your exam, it will be very easy for you. Okay, all right. Now, TBS says, good evening, teacher. Good evening. Aarti, good evening. Ma'am, I have my social exam on Thursday. You will do very well. Okay, come on. Swapnil says, ma'am, please bring our SST sessions for class 9 also. We will. Just stay tuned to the channel. Now, let's talk about the first category of land that we're going to talk about, which is net sown area. Now, who can tell me what is net sown area? Answer the question please for me. Who can tell me what is net sown area? Lakshika says, I'm in the 9th. Great, these sessions will help you even in the 10th. Come on. What is net sown area? I want some answers. Who knows? It's very easy. If you think of sowing, what is sowing exactly? Yes, Danny says crops grown. Absolutely right. Once cultivation in a year, Ramadandi Suresh Babu says crops grown in a particular area, total land a farmer has, area which is cultivated at least once a year. Absolutely right. You all are like pros. Let's go ahead and understand this. Net sown area is the physical extent of land on which crops are sown and harvested, and this is known as the net sown area. So supposing you have a land of 6 acres, okay, and you are growing crops on this for the entire year, okay, one type of crop on this for crops once a year on the 6 acres, then this extent, this physical extent of land of 6 acres is your net sown area, right? Now, net sown area, it is, see, we have a very large country. We have a country like India which has so many different states. Now, when we're talking about net sown area, it's very important to note over here that the net sown area of different states might be quite different. For example, if you take the net sown area of Punjab or Haryana, they have a much larger net sown area than, for example, some of the northeastern states. Now, why is there a difference between net sown area of particular states? Well, because there are so many factors that affect how much net sown area there is. For example, you have difference in relief features. Maybe in some particular states it's too mountainous and so you can't grow too much or you can't have too much agriculture. In that case, the net sown area would probably be less. Or the difference in soil. So for example, certain types of states have more fertile soil as opposed to others, and so they have a larger amount of area dedicated to agriculture. Then difference in climatic conditions, obviously this is going to affect the crop sown and availability of irrigation facilities. Definitely this is going to affect the net sown area, and which is why you will find a difference in the net sown area of different states across the country. Now, let us try and understand and go to the pie chart to see that what is the difference in the net sown area in the 1960s and what is the difference in 2014-2015. Now, one very important thing for you to understand over here before I go ahead and explain this to you is that, see, When we are talking about the pie chart, we are talking about the reported area of land being 100%. So what we are saying is, this is the land, 100% of the land that is available to us. And then what we've gone ahead and done in this pie chart is we've demarcated in different colors that this particular purpose, this particular color is dedicated to, for example, this particular purpose. So we are talking about the different colors are nothing but the land use pattern or the different purposes that we are using land for. Now, like I told you, this is 100%, this is the land that is available. Now, it is very interesting. Some of these colors, as you see, or the areas that, the purposes that we're going to be talking about, land use patterns, you will see some of them are increasing and some of them are decreasing as we move along. But it is very important to note that if one area goes down, please note that some area, other area is bound to go up, because we are talking, we have only that 100% of land, right? So naturally, if something goes down in some area, the other one will have to go up, because we're talking about that total 100%. Now, let us go ahead and understand net sown area. We've discussed that net sown area is the area, physical extent on which you're sowing crops once a year. So, if you take the data from the 1960s, okay, let me mark this in red, we can see that net sown area, okay, it's marked in green over here, this was 45.26%. And what has happened in 2014-15? Well, this has decreased, no, it's not decreased, it has gone up slightly, very slightly, to 45.5%, right? So, it's more or less the same, but it has gone up only slightly, as we can see over here. Right now, again, this could be because of a difference in, you know, seasonal patterns. It could be a difference in cropping patterns, but more or less it is sort of similar. And if you understand this logically, why is this more or less similar? Well, because food is a basic need, right? We're always going to need food. So you can't have a really dramatic change in terms of net sown area, right? So this is about net sown area. Clear? Okay. Now, is everyone clear about this so far? I want to see a thumbs up if you're not clear about what we're explaining so far. Come on, come on, come on. Easy Craft says, hi, ma'am, hi. Aditi says, yes, ma'am, great. I want to see a thumbs up if we are clear so far. Subhi says, yes, ma'am. Webasi says, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, fine. So we are clear. Now, we have understood. Thank you for all your thumbs ups. Okay, Dave, you're talking about the best books for SSC or SST. We've already given you a list of prescribed textbooks for SST. Please go ahead and take a look at what we've done in terms of the syllabus for you. We've done a session for you on the syllabus. So please go ahead and take a look at that session and you will get the recommended textbooks. Okay. Aditi says clearly understood. Hema says, ma'am, nationalism in Europe. Hema, wait for it. We will be covering all the sessions for you. We will be doing everything that is in your syllabus. So just wait for the chapters as and when they happen. Okay. So for this, you have to stay tuned to our channel. Right? Great. Weber V also says crystal clear. Now, another very important term over here is gross cropped area. So you might get a question in your paper that says, what is the difference between the net sown area and the gross cropped area? So it's very important for us to understand what the gross cropped area is. Who knows what the gross cropped area is? Can you all tell me? What is the difference between net sown area and gross cropped area? Tell me. Ash says, ma'am, screen is not clear. Ash, maybe you need to go and adjust your settings somehow, right? Okay, Hema says, tomorrow I have an exam. That's why I asked. Okay, all right. I'm sorry we haven't been able to give you that session yet, but we will. It is on the cards, right? But I'm sure you'll do very well in your exams anyway. Net sown area is known as gross cropped area. Aarti, no. Net sown area and gross cropped area are actually two different terms, and this is why I'm explaining this to you over here. There is a difference between the gross cropped area. Danny says gross cropped area includes the net sown area. Absolutely right. Webavi says area sown more than once in an agricultural year plus net sown area. That's what we've written for you over here. Absolutely right, Webavi. So basically we are saying that the area sown more than once in an agricultural year plus the net sown area is known as the gross cropped area. Okay, let us assume that we have, say we have 6 acres of land. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, so this is basically 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so we are growing crops over here once in a year. So this is what, 6 acres, which means our net sown area, I'm just putting it as NS, this will be 6 acres. But supposing after 1 year I realize, oh, you know what, the fertility of 2 acres of this particular land are actually very fertile. So the soil is very fertile on 2 acres, so maybe I can grow 2 crops in a year over here. So what will I do over here? I will add maybe one more crop. Let me put this for you in red. I'll add one more crop over here, so we'll make this 2 crops over here, 2 crops over here, and the rest of them still have 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So totally now our gross cropped area, I'll put this in a different color so you can see this. Now our gross cropped area is how much? It will be 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. How much does that give us? That will give us 8 acres. So our gross cropped area is 8 acres, but our net sown area continues to remain 6 acres of land, right? So yes, you were right when you said that the gross cropped area includes the net sown area also. So basically what you're doing over here is you are counting this net sown area of this area over here twice, because you are sowing crops twice that year, right? Clear? Can we have is this clear for you? Show me a thumbs up if you're clear, because this is a very important important term or important classification. You may get a question of it, and you're not supposed to, I mean, we have to be clear that net sown area and gross cropped area are 2 completely different things, right? Yes, ma'am, crystal clear. All right, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, and heart, 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 heart. Where were we? I'm just telling you very quickly. Basically, whenever you sow more than once in a year, you add that to that will become a part of your gross cropped area, okay? And your gross cropped area includes your net sown area. So if you're looking at gross cropped area, it is literally the area sown more than once in a year, more than once in an agricultural year, plus the net sown area, which is the gross cropped area. I would suggest that you go back to the video and go through it one more time till you understand it. You'll be able to understand it. I'm very sure it's actually quite simple, right? Okay, next, let's move on to our ma'am is like a choti bachchi, Prinsa who says, okay, that's good, right? Which means I'm always open to learning, and that's so good, no? Okay, now, let's move on to our next category. We are done with net sown area. Now the next category that we are going to be discussing is land not available for cultivation. Now, what does land not available for cultivation mean? Land not available for cultivation means that the land that is not available to us for agriculture. Cultivation is basically agriculture, right? Now, land not available for cultivation is further subdivided into 2 categories, which is land put to non-agricultural uses and barren and wasteland. We are going to discuss each of these also, so you have a clearer picture of this, all right? Now, land put to non-agricultural uses, let us talk about this. What is land put to non-agricultural uses? Well, it simply means land that is put to non-agricultural uses, which means that we are not farming on this land, we are not cultivating anything on this land, we are using it for other purposes. So, what are the purposes that we would have besides agriculture? Well, obviously we could use the land to, build buildings, to set up our factories, to set up roads, because we have so many needs as human beings, right? So, the net sown area takes care of our food. The land put to non-agricultural uses is basically taking care of our other needs, right? So, this is one category. Now, correct, absolutely right. Prince says buildings, roads, factories. Bhushan says building, roads, factory. Correct. So, this is non-agricultural. Now, let us see how this land use pattern has changed from the 1960s. So, sometimes you may feel that, oh, you know what, I just have to mug up this pie chart. If supposing they ask me whether something is increased or decreased, how will I mug it up? I'm saying don't mug it up. Understand why the land use pattern has changed. If you understand it, it will be very easy for you and you will be able to write it down very clearly in your exam. Now, talking about land put to non-agricultural uses, let us see. Land put to non-agricultural uses is over here, as we can see, right? This area is green. Okay, so if you see over here, I'm going to mark this for you in red. This was 4.95% in 1960-61. What has happened to that? Oh, wow! This has increased from 4.95% to 8.7%. That's almost double. So what is the logical reason as to why there could be an increase of land put to non-agricultural use? Who can tell me this? Come on. Why do you think it has increased? Come on. It's very logical, right? If you think of it, why do you think this would have increased so much? Land put to non-agricultural uses. Yes, innovative 26 says population. Hima, not really climatic conditions, but more, yes, increase in population and development. Absolutely right, because industries came up. Absolutely right, because if you think of it, in India, the land in this category has been rising. Why? Because India's economy has been booming. So obviously we need this land to set up our industries. So we can't afford to not have this land anymore. So naturally we have to increase this particular use. Apart from that, there is an increase in population. So obviously all these people have to live somewhere. If they live somewhere, they have to set up industries somewhere. And as a result of this, there is an increase in the land put to non-agricultural uses. Right? Yes, Dave, absolutely, because there is a need for development. Absolutely right. Okay, let's move on to our next category under land not available for cultivation. The next category is barren and wasteland. Now, I think the name pretty much gives it away. What is barren and wasteland? Barren and wasteland is basically land that we're not using. We're not using it for cultivation because we cannot bring it on, bring it into cultivation with the current technology that we have. So it may be areas like, real very high mountains or probably deserts where it's not really possible for us to grow anything. It may be too rocky to do anything with it, right? So in that sense, this is barren and wasteland, right? Now, let us go ahead and let us understand how this has changed from the 1960s. So where is barren and wasteland? Well, let's see. Barren and wasteland is here in red. Okay, so in 1960s, barren and wasteland was 12.02%. And, oh my God, see this, a barren and wasteland in 2014-15 has decreased to 5.5%. So you see, we don't have as much barren and wasteland as we did in the 1960s. Why? Because everything is growing, right? Who can tell me why we do? Okay, before I tell you, you tell me. Why do you think that the barren and the wasteland has decreased? We're using more of this barren and wasteland. What are we using this barren and wasteland for? Well, Prince, absolutely, because technology has increased. So because technology has increased, we can use it for more purposes, right? So if we have more technology, we can use more of this land in more activities. Absolutely right, Hima. We are using this land now in agriculture because more people, more population means need for more food. So we can't afford to have as much barren land as we did before because we have to meet the needs of so many people, right? Correct. Then we are also using land put to non-agricultural uses, which means that as there are more people, we need more and more land available for housing. We need more and more land available for industries. So as a result, and from the 60s to the 2014-15, our technology has also gone up, like Prince said. So because we have more technology now, we're actually being able to convert this barren and wasteland to other uses that we need, whether it is agricultural or non-agricultural. And as a result of this, the barren and wasteland has decreased, right? Is this clear to all of you? Absolutely right. Setting up industries. Absolutely right. Is this clear to all of you? Give me a thumbs up. I'd like to see a thumbs up, please. Come on. Yes, Hema gives me a thumbs up. Subi gives me a thumbs up. Okay, so we are clear for over here. Prince Sahu says, maybe this land is used for many purposes, so that has decreased. Absolutely right, Prince, because we need it for other purposes and available land is only that much, right? So as the population increases, we need to put land that we're not using before, we need to use it now, and which is why there was so much of it before and now there's not so much for it. It's very, very easy. All right. Okay, Rosanna says, I love your geography explanation. Thank you. All right, and Facts on Fire does this. What is this called? Something, there's a name for this, no? I don't know what it's called, but this is what Facts on Fire is doing. All right, great, very nice. Let's move on to our next category, which is fallow land. Innovative 26 says we are talking about forests. I'm going to be coming to forests very, very soon. Yeah, oh yes, that's called a dab. Absolutely right, Innovative 26. Yes, so you're dabbing. Okay, come on. Now, let's talk about fallow land. What is fallow land? Can someone tell me what is fallow land? Fallow land is land that is left uncultivated for a certain period of time. Now, it sounds very strange to hear, but actually, do you know that this land has been left uncultivated to increase its fertility? Right? If you leave the land alone sometimes, when we're constantly using the land, the minerals, the nutrients in the soil go down. So sometimes what we do is that we leave this land on its own without cultivating anything for a period of time, and then what happens is the land naturally regains the nutrients, and then very soon again it's available for cultivation, right, or for whatever else that we want. Now, fallow land is further subdivided into two categories, which is current fallow land and other than current fallow land. Now, this is a very simple categorization. Current fallow land is current, which means it is what is happening now. So current fallow land is land that has been left, when we've not cultivated for it for either one or less than one agricultural year. So it's a very current thing. It's a very recent thing. Whereas other than current fallow land is land that we have left uncultivated for a period of 1 to 5 agricultural years. And this is the difference between current fallow land and other than current fallow land, right? Okay, just in case you're asked what is the difference between the two. So this is the difference. These are the two categories under fallow land. Now, let's take a look at fallow land. What is the difference between what it was in the 1960s to what it is now? Let's take a look at fallow land over here, fallow other than current fallow land over here. We've got 1.50 in 1960-61, and this has decreased to 1%. So again, logically, what does this mean? That the fallow land, we are basically using it right now. We need more land, so we are not letting as much of it be, right? So there is a decrease over here, right? Okay, now, Dev, what do you want explained again? If you want something explained again, tell me clearly what you want explained again, and I will try my best. But if we are running short of time, I will request you to go ahead and take a look at this video again, and all your concepts will become crystal clear. Okay, right. Hema says, but it will destroy land if we left it for a certain period. No, Hema, that doesn't happen. It's actually good for the land to leave it. All right. It helps it to regain its minerals, like I said. Right? Okay. Now, let's go ahead and understand the next category. The fourth category is other uncultivated land. Prince Sahu says this is apun jhukega nahi. Okay, so that's the same like dab. Okay, fam. Dev says fallow land. Dev, fallow land, I just explained, is what we have left uncultivated for a certain amount of time so that we can help the land to regain its fertility. So we are not growing anything on it. If we don't grow anything for less than 1 year or up to 1 year, it is current fallow land. If it is 1 to 5 years, then it is other than current fallow land, right? This is very, very simple. All right, let's move ahead. Let's understand other uncultivated land. Other uncultivated land, we have three sections again. We have three types of land under this category. One is permanent pastures and grazing land. One is land under miscellaneous tree crops and groves, and the other is culturable wasteland. Let me quickly explain each of these. Pasture lands and permanent grazing lands are lands that we've allocated for The bhed bakriya to eat. We have cattle. Cattle needs to eat food also. We are not the only people who eat food. Cattle also needs to eat food. So these lands are allocated to that. All right. So for the cattle grazing basically. Then land under miscellaneous tree crops and groves. This is basically privately owned land generally. And this would refer to, for example, your gardens, your orchards, and most of these are privately owned. Then we move on to cultivable wasteland. Cultivable wasteland is land that has been left without cultivating for more than 5 agricultural years. Now see, this is very, very important. Huh? In your exams, you may get a question to ask you what land has been left uncultivated for 1 to 5 years, or what type of land is left uncultivated for more than 5 years. So you have to be very sure that you know what these classifications are. Current fallow land is up to a year or less than a year. Other than current fallow land is 1 to 5 years, and cultivable wasteland is more than 5 years. So please make a note of this. This is a very important classification, right? Okay, now let us go ahead and take a look at our pie chart once again. Let us see what has happened to other uncultivated lands. Other uncultivated lands has actually increased from 3.50 to 3.6%. So now think about it logically. Why would there be an increase in uncultivated lands? Well, because we are using that land again for other purposes, right? So again, we need more land for all our activities, and this is why there is a increase. All right, now let's move on to our last category, which is forest. I'm not going to get into what a forest is. You all know what a forest is. Let us go directly to the pie chart and take a look at what the forests were in 1960s and what they are in 2014-15. So, in terms of forest, we can see that the forest over here in 1960s was 18.11. But in 2014-15, this has increased to, wow, 23.3%. Now, this is very good news. First, let us understand why it was so low in 1960s. It was so low in 1960s because at that point in time, a lot of the forest land was owned by a lot of these zamindars, and they used to indiscriminately, chop off the trees and use it for industries and things like that. So as a result, we started losing a lot of our forest cover. Then in the 2000s, the government has taken, a lot of this land under its wing and says that we need to increase our green cover, obviously, because we're landing up with a whole lot of other problems like global warming and climatic conditions, etc. So we need to increase our green cover. So now what the government has said is that certain areas, you cannot do deforestation over there. They're protected areas. So as a result, we have been able to increase our green cover or our forests from 18% approximately, 18.11% to 23.3%. But while this is good news, it's a good thing that we are increasing it. However, it's still not enough. Studies tell us that to maintain a perfect ecological balance, to be perfectly ecologically safe, where we don't have any sort of other side effects, we need to have a forest cover of at least 33%, okay, to maintain that ideal balance. We are still not close to the 33%. We still have a long way to go. This is not happening as fast as we would like because of, needs of people, like, the population is growing, industries are there, we're needing to cut down forests. So as a result, we're not able to grow the forests as fast as we need to, or as fast as we are using them. So in that sense, it still is a bit of a problem. So we do definitely need to plant trees and take care of this forest cover, right? Okay, now Rosanna says, ma'am, will you also teach us history? Yes, Rosanna, at your command, I will be teaching you history also. Okay, yes, Subi says forests play a very important role in daily life. Absolutely right. Okay, now with this, we've actually finished our first topic on land as a resource. We've discussed how land, or why land is such a precious resource, because we survive and we thrive on it. We're conducting all our activities on land, and we needed to survive. And apart from that, we went ahead and we understood very clearly what the different land use patterns were, how they were utilized, and how this pattern has changed from the 1960s to the 2000s, right? Okay. Tejaswini says, ma'am, I'm from Karnataka. I love your teachings. Thank you, Tejaswini. Okay, now we move on to our next topic. We'll quickly go through this also. This is land degradation and conservation methods. So, let us first understand a little bit as to why is conservation of land so important? Can anyone tell me? Why is conservation of land so important? I already told you why it is such a valuable resource, right? Grandmaster Gaming says, which lesson is this? Grandmaster, take a look at the title of the session. Okay, now come on. Hema says overgrazing, chemical throwing. Hema, these are all reasons as to why land degradation is happening. I am asking you, why is conservation of land important? Come on, tell me, why is it so important? Well, land is very important because, yes, for our future generations, for purposes of development, all our basic needs are taken care of through land. Clothing, food, shelter, everything is taken care of land. If we taken care of by land, if we don't take care of our land, where will we live? So land conservation is very, very important, right? But why is everyone concerned about land right now? Well, if you think about it, land is a limited resource. What do I mean by it's a limited resource? We can't suddenly create land from somewhere, right? Whatever there is, there is. And if the quality of that land starts going down or starts getting degraded, then where are we going to live? Where are we going to survive? Where are we going to thrive? So land is very, very important, right? But the sad news over here is, like Hema said, there are certain human activities that are actually leading to land degradation, such as deforestation, which is cutting down our forests, overgrazing, mining, quarrying. All of these have led to land degradation, and this is a serious problem. Ash says because it can't be created. Absolutely right. Prince says we're standing on land. Hema says we can go and live on the moon. Hema, maybe in the future that will be a possibility, but not currently. Right? Okay. Yes, it takes millions of years to recreate. Absolutely right. Okay. So right now we're going to understand a little bit about land degradation. We're going to understand a little bit more about the human activities that lead to land degradation, which I know that all of you already know, but we're quickly going to go through those. And we're going to be talking about the solutions to the problems of land degradation. Right? Correct. Okay. Now, what are the reasons of land degradation? Unfortunately, we humans have a habit of really destroying a lot of things that we use. We use our things not very nicely. We don't take care of them, and as a result, we somehow lose our resources. This is what I told you all at the beginning of the resources chapter also, that our resources are getting depleted, right? So land is one such resource that actually is getting degraded, and we have to take care of this. So what are the causes that lead to land degradation? Well, there is over-irrigation, there is mining, there is industry, as well as overgrazing. Now, I'm not going to get into what each of these mean. Over-irrigation is just irrigating your, soil too much, your plants too much. Mining, we know, is extracting chemicals, minerals from the ground, iron ore from the ground. Industry is setting up factories, and overgrazing is, of course, letting our bhed bakriyan eat. Okay, now if you think about, I'm just going to give you two of these examples over here just for you to understand what are the kind of questions that you might get in your exam. So for example, you may get a question to say waterlogging is a problem for land degradation in which area of India? So if you think about it, first of all, how does over-irrigation, not waterlogging, over-irrigation. Over-irrigation is what means you're watering the plants too much, you're watering the earth too much. As a result of this, there is waterlogging. The water is getting collected in the soil. Water has a whole lot of salts and, minerals to them. As a result of this, the salinity of the soil goes up, and the fertility of the soil goes down. As a result, you're losing the fertility of the soil, and that is perfectly good land which has gone to waste. Now, what are the areas that this is happening in? Well, if you think about it, where is agriculture practiced the most? It's mostly practiced in Punjab and Haryana. That's known for agriculture. So this is a very common problem over there, right? So this is how you can apply your concepts and understand and answer your questions, right? Then, if you think about mining, so they may say, for example, what is the cause of land degradation in Odisha or Jharkhand? Now think about it. This is the area where we do so much mining. What happens when we mine? We dig out the earth. We are looking for minerals. Now this earth that we've dug out, it has to go somewhere, right? So we take it out from one area and we pile it into another area. So what is happening? We are depleting this, the land from one side, and we are putting it into a completely other side, and this is landing up to overburdening of land, right? So this is definitely a problem. It is leading to land degradation, and the areas where we do mining the most is all your Chota Nagpur Plateau, your Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, all of this. So this is how you can understand, and this is how you can answer your questions, right? Right, mining depleted most land. Yes, that is true. Absolutely right. Correct. Okay. Yes, Hima says they will mine, that's okay, but they don't cover, it's bad. Yes, Hima. So they need to take the appropriate measures. So let us understand some land conservation methods that will help us to regain the land a little bit. Okay, so one of the methods is afforestation. What is the meaning of afforestation? Afforestation means growing more trees. How does growing more trees help us? It will be about holding the soil together, so there's not that much soil erosion, right? Okay, so afforestation. Then in mineral rich regions, what can you do? Like Hima says, do mining, but keep in mind the appropriate environmental checks. Apart from this, proper treatment and disposal of waste from industry, so we are not polluting the land around us, right? And then control over grazing. This is very, very important, right? Okay, let's move on to land conservation in arid areas. Arid areas, it's very, very important to take care of land because soil erosion happens a lot. There's a lot of wind that is taking away the soil, and soil is a part of land. So over here, what can we do? We can take care of land by planting shelter belts around the cultivated area so that the block of the wind flow is blocked. Then growing thorny bushes on stand dunes, so it's holding the soil, and basically we're blocking the flow of wind. All right, so we're going to be ending the session very soon. We've covered all of our major concepts. What have we done so far? We have land resources and its utilization. So we've understood this very clearly, and we've done land degradation and conservation methods also in detail. And with this, we have finished part 2 of resources and development. Any questions that you have, please go ahead and ask us in the comment section. We will try our best to answer them. If you have any doubts, go back, watch the videos. It's only by watching and rewatching that you will, your concepts will become clearer, and you will be able to understand the whole picture a little clearer. I hope you had a good time. Please know that we are with you always. BYJU'S 9 to 10 has you covered completely. We're always with you. Look out for more of our sessions. And definitely do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. I'm going to see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.